All right, welcome, welcome. Session 3. It's kind of session 4 because we did a pre one, but this is our third week on our sugar detox. Give me an update, guys. I want to hear from you. Tell me, Stephanie, how you doing?
Good.
Feeling good?
Good. Yeah.
All right. Sandy?
I'm doing really good.
Nothing major.
Yeah, no complaints. Doing really good.
Okay. How about you, Maria? Anything?
Still feeling pretty good. Lost 3 more pounds this past week, so that's good. It's more than I did the first week.
It's just so random, isn't it, Karen?
Yeah, it really is.
I know.
So, yeah, but feeling pretty good.
I know. So how about you, Karen? How you feeling today after another day on plan?
Good. Doing
Yeah,
good.
and you're feeling okay? I know I saw your post and we all kind of commented. I just love how everyone, supports and chimes in, and it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So how are you feeling?
Good. Staying on plan, so hopefully.
So we lost the first week. We just didn't lose the second week was the weight
No.
thing,
So
right?
I'm hoping it's not some I feel like I just lose and gain the same 5 pounds over and over again. So
You're back down to that place where you need to re-lose it, you're at that lower place right now, hoping to push
I'm at this this weight that I just never can get below.
Completely frustrating. I know.
Yeah.
I know. There is some truth to the whole set point theory, and I don't know if you guys have ever read or researched a little bit about that, but there's a place where your body just tends to want to go and sit, and you can break through that, but it just takes a lot more work than you think it should, to be honest. But this place where your body feels comfortable, I know where that place is for me, for sure, that I can, anytime I'm up a little, I can get back down to that spot, not too bad, not too difficult, but to really get back to where I really want to be, I'm going to have to just, suck it up for a longer period of time. It's sometimes quite frustrating, I know, but you have to kind of challenge your body in different ways, and whether that's your diet, your exercise, kind of looking at all those things that you're doing and how can you kind of push yourself a little bit more to get it there. And then maintaining it is harder until it becomes a new place for your body to kind of sit, right?
Right.
Which it will, but it's you also know that place where you've gotten down there before, but you can't sit there for very long, because as soon as you get there, it seems like it starts creeping back, but to get it there, you're going to have to stay just as on top of it as you were when you were trying to get there for a while until it becomes the new normal.
Right.
So I know, what, this is what you're doing, though, is kind of figuring it out. And no matter what, the other benefits everyone is talking about is huge, right? Like little change in body, but also energy, sleep, brain fog. I hear that a lot, actually, this idea of you just didn't realize how much clearer you think when you're eating better. It just affects every part of our life.
Yes.
So, all right, well, guys, we're going into our last week, and I have a presentation on mindset and willpower. Anyone who has ever worked with me before, I know I don't have people on here right now, but people have worked with me before, they know this is kind of my favorite topic, because we all know we have to work on this as much as we have to work on our diet, right? And when we start with something like the sugar detox, it's the perfect kickstart, and I called it a reset this go round, but it is kind of just a reset, kind of sets you up for success. You're on the right path. You have some guidelines, so you know what's working. Hopefully you learned a lot, and you have a guidebook that you can kind of refer to and go back to. So anytime you start feeling a little, off, which, trust me, even the healthiest person in your world does sometimes, but you know what, they always kind of just go back to what works for them to kind of get that reset back in gear. So hopefully that 21-day sugar detox guidebook will be something you can kind of refer to. And I would encourage you to kind of use that as, those recipes and some of the things in there. They're definitely things you can make forever. They're not diet food. They are food that, is good and good forever. So still trying those recipes and trying different things. So, all right, let me pull up my little thing here. Close that. Oh yeah, that's right. I had reset my computer. That's why I was like, where is it? Dropbox. Well, goodness. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. There we are. I think this is it. Yes. All right. Zoom, share screen. Where is it? Share. Here we are. Ta-da! Mindset and willpower. Week 3, we're almost there, right? You can taste it. You're that close to the end. Literally only what? Through Sunday? I think Sunday is our official last day on the 21-day sugar detox, right? Let me pull that bigger. Come here. There it goes. All right. Let's see. Will it let me move you guys? It will. Oh, there we are. All right, so mindset and willpower, week 3, almost there. So we're going to talk a little bit about moderation and self-control. Willpower, is it a myth? What is this willpower we all hear about? How do we change our mindset? And then, of course, you're always welcome to jump in. I hope you guys know that. In these formats, I want you to jump in, ask questions. What you have a question about, someone else probably has wondered as well. So we're going to talk about all of these things and, you know, just really, what are we doing for the next step? We know what the program is. Now it's kind of like, okay, we got to figure out how we're going to live after this a little bit. And I'll go over more of the basic transition and like next steps as far as your food and program is concerned. But we're going to talk a little bit about the head stuff, which will help you hopefully moving forward as well. So moderation and self-control quiz, which I thought was really helpful actually. Something to think about. So are you unable to have just one bite or one portion of a food that you feel you shouldn't eat? So are you someone who can have like one bite? Raise your hand. No. Do you find yourself consistently looking to replace treats from your previous eating habits with healthier alternatives? Anyone? Does that sound like anyone? Maybe thinking like, I wish I could make a version, like I'll see people, you know, even like the sun butter, like peanut butter things, you know, we're trying to replace what, a Reese's cup, you know, trying to make it healthier. So are there treats near you in your home or office? I don't know what happened to the other F and the I there. Do you find it impossible to resist them? And do you consider yourself someone with zero willpower? It's interesting in my shred group, because you have 2 groups going right now. I have you guys, I have my little shred 10 group going, and I have someone who just posted in there today, and she's like, I did great on the first week, and I'm so frustrated. I have zero willpower and just completely gave in week 2, and she's just really frustrated with herself. And I feel that for you guys, for not just her, but for others who feel that way, that idea of like they aren't strong enough to do this on your own. And that's kind of what this says. Am I weak for needing this detox? Why isn't relying on willpower enough to kick my cravings? Why can't we just do it already? Because the truth is most people know what to do. They just don't necessarily actually take the action to do it, right? So the bottom line is we can train our minds and our habits to keep us from falling prey to cravings, but we have to work on it. And our moderation and self-control myths, well, the bottom line is understanding your own habits and behavior patterns is critical to your success in eliminating excess sugar from your diet during the sugar detox and after. I don't think moderation and self-control are myths, but I think that you have to take a little bit more of an analytical approach to working on those things and not being so, because it's very emotion driven, I think, especially as women. I find we're much more connected to our food and our choices than like the men that I coach. I don't coach actually very many men, but I have had a handful, and they're very cut and dry about things. It's a lot more like, oh, I'm not supposed to have that. Okay. And they move on. You know, we all are like, well, what if this happens? And can I do this? And well, when my sister makes it, I have to. I mean, there's like a whole like, you know, thought process around stuff in a different way. So we need to, if we recognize where we have maybe an issue with our self-control or our willpower or just being able to consistently stick with something, kind of stepping back and kind of analyzing that is the first step. So I'm going to give you some tools, hopefully that'll, I don't expect you to do all of them, but hopefully one or two of them will kind of resonate with you and you can kind of start thinking about it. So by definition, the willpower is the control exerted to do something or restrain an impulse. Does that make sense? Whereas your mindset is the established set of attitudes held. See the difference there? So one is you're controlling the natural impulse, right? The other is that the impulse really isn't even there. You naturally don't want it. Is that making sense? Not if you understand. Yeah. All right. So what if you didn't have to restrain yourself and use willpower to force yourself to make the right choice, but rather you had the mindset or the desire for the healthy option? Isn't that what we all want? Sorry, I'm putting on chapstick. I don't know why I always feel like I need to put on chapstick as soon as I get going. My lips are dry. I mean, this is kind of my desire for you. And my desire for all of you is that hopefully doing something like the sugar detox, doing some kind of little reset, doing some kind of little program, doing something that's for you that focuses on the food helps you kind of reset that baseline so that the desire changes. And, you probably have noticed it doesn't necessarily change overnight, but at this point in the program, I expect the desire for some of those things that you had the first week is less naturally, right? But the minute you have it, for most of us, it comes back with a vengeance, right? So we are having to now kind of step back and recognize maybe the type of person that we are when it comes to our willpower and our mindset, what type of choices we make. So the truth is, all of this is possible, right? It's not always easy, but it is possible. It takes time, effort, and failure. And this idea of like getting back on the horse is really kind of part of it, right? Just redoing it. Even though, Karen, you may feel like you've lost the same 5 pounds over and over, you continue retrying and trying to figure out what works for you. And that in itself is more than what most people do, which is just kind of let it go, and then before you know it, they've got a bigger issue to deal with, right? So you're continuing to kind of search for that, and that in itself is a big deal. So you're retraining your mind and your habits really from years. It could be the way you were raised, it could be something that you've done as an adult, it could be since you became a parent, whatever. Something that we've done for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, some people 40 years, they've been doing things or eating certain things and not really knowing any different. When you're trying to shift that and really retrain your thoughts around that stuff, you're going to have some failures, but you also have to just recognize it doesn't happen overnight, and be okay with it and step back to kind of analyze it. Remember what I talked about, having kind of more of an analytical approach to it is very helpful, and it's going to be the key to helping you actually make progress on those goals, okay? So here are some steps. I think I have 4. And these are all very, what I call kind of these are all, I don't know exactly how to even say it, but they're more like, touchy-feely, a little more like, well, why? And why do I want this? And how do I think about this? And some people don't work like that, but maybe 1 or 2 of these things will kind of make sense to you. And then I'm going to have a little bit more plausible action steps towards the end, okay? So first off, taking control, recognizing you need a plan. So if you wake up on day 22 of your sugar detox with 0 plan, you're going to struggle, okay? So having a plan of action to get a handle on your cravings and your eating, which you did with your sugar detox, but now we're talking about day 22 and on. I still want you to have a plan until it becomes natural, until it becomes habit, until it becomes not so hard. You really need to continue to print out your meal sheet every week, write down your snacks, write down your lunches, write down your breakfast and your dinners. No, you don't have the same strict guidelines that you had when you're on this 21-day sugar detox, but the meal planning piece of it, for most people in this beginning phase of trying to like reset their habits, is a really, really big part of it, okay? So I put on here, I'm all, maybe you don't know, but I'm all about the quotes, man. I love like a nice inspirational placard, right? So a goal without a plan is just a dream or just a wish, right? We need a plan. So second, and I find this is really, really a big deal, is the negativity that kind of creeps in around our choices. And I heard a statistic, and I wish I had written it down because I did not, but it was just something to the effect of most of what we think about and worry about really is not even a real thing, right? We put these ideas out there in the universe and in our mind that we think are real, and it's not always true. So kind of recognizing if you're one of those people that naturally negatively looks at something, or if you naturally kind of have a positive attitude. I'm definitely the positive person, like in the relationship with Rick, because I kind of laugh at him. I'm like, you're such a pessimist. And I don't know that he says he's a realist. I think he's a pessimist. But for real, sometimes I think, I just naturally go towards looking for the silver lining. It's just my personality. And you analyzing kind of how you are you someone who naturally has like a negative thought, like, well, it was nice I finished the 21 days, but you know how that works. I'm sure as soon as I eat a piece of, bread, I'm going to be never able to say no. That's a negative thought. That is not true, by the way. It's just a thought, right? You have the power to make it true or not. So kind of recognizing the negative thought and just being aware of it is kind of the first step. And so this little thing called ants, which I don't know if you've heard of before, but just this idea of that automatic negative thought and trying to stop that, or at least recognizing when you have that negative thought, that thought doesn't mean it's truth. Just because you think as soon as the 21-day sugar detox is over, you may blank, doesn't make it true, right? So kind of stopping and recognizing that. And you see how we're kind of stepping back and having to a little bit look inward on our thoughts in this process. So making an intentional positive thought to counteract a negative one. So you can use a notebook, your phone. I've had people who do voice memos so that they can remember later, like if they're negatively thinking about their food or their diet or their health, or they're just kind of feeling down about it. What is the thought? Kind of saying it into your voice memo or writing it down so that maybe later when you have a little bit more perspective, you can look at that and think about why maybe you even thought that in the first place. So awareness is really the first step. So you can't stop the negative thoughts from popping into your head, but you can choose to stop letting them control you in your life. And I have seen it happen over and over, that switch of turning from, believing something is going to happen that's maybe negative around your health, to shifting it to just believing that it's not going to, because we can make it go the opposite direction as much as we can, the negative one, right? Then the fourth is recognizing that willpower is not the answer. And I know you've probably heard that you need to have a bigger why, and it really is true, because until there's really an internal desire, some kind of intrinsic motivation to do what it is you're trying to do, it's very hard to make the hard choice, because that's what I'm asking you to do, really, is to make the hard choice sometimes when you don't want to make the hard choice, right? So willpower there's a limited supply. Have you ever noticed that you start your day off really, really strong? Like, this is going to be a good day. I'm going to eat 100% on plan. I'm going to have my water. I'm going to have less coffee. I'm not going to have wine tonight. I'm going to have a salad with chicken at lunch, and I've got a healthy dinner that I've planned out. You start out strong, and then what happens? You get to work. You had someone call in sick. Maybe the baby is sick. You're like ran late. You forgot to get gas, and it's suddenly all these things kind of build up. And at the end of the day, it's very easy to just go, screw it, and you just run through Zaxby's and just whatever. You know what? You can't do everything, and this is true. You can't do everything, right? So willpower does have a finite amount. I will say I do believe that willpower is a little bit like a muscle that has to be worked, though, because the more you work that muscle, the better your willpower gets. So there is some truth to that. But when it comes to making the hard choice, when it doesn't always feel comfortable, you have to have a bigger reason why, right? You have to really kind of decide, why am I doing this? And what I love, I have several people in this group that I've spoken to, and it's really, they're not doing this sugar detox for weight loss. They're not doing this sugar detox for any reason other than they just know they need something to give them a kickstart and to be healthier. But maybe they've had I have one person I know with a diagnosis. You have an internal reason, a different reason for doing this, right? So there is no fix. It's just a matter of like, I know I've got to get myself under control. So there could be your bigger reason why, right? A fifth, so I lied, there were 5 things. So I do want to encourage you to think about that bigger goal and making very small goals to get there. So, coming up with small baby steps. And I want goal 1 to be the one at the very bottom, to be so doable that you're almost like, this is a dumb goal. Like, I don't need that goal. I don't need the goal to like drink 64 ounces of water a day. I've been doing that for 2 years. There's your goal. Put it on there. You're going to drink 65 ounces. You're going to increase it by just a teeny bit. And make it achievable and doable. But we have to measure it somehow, right? So make small, achievable goals. And it's very helpful if you kind of write out the main goal and you do the steps to the main goal. Break it down however you want. I like to do with my 6-month clients, we kind of do a 30-day, 3-month, 6-month. So it gives us kind of nice places to kind of stop, take a check, and if we need to adjust, you can kind of adjust them going forward. But there's no reason why you can't do that on your own, working towards the bigger goal. And then honestly, and I talked about this earlier, is this idea of failure not being such a bad thing, and I'm working on this right now with my sweet little 12-year-old. I talk a little bit quieter because she's quite the perfectionist and she gets super frustrated over everything, and the minute it doesn't work right, or something as simple as like a drawing that she's working on. Like she made cookies a couple weeks ago and they were so flat, and so she was so mad. She took that whole tray of cookies and dumped them before anyone had a chance to even really see them. So upset with it. So, just like my little 12-year-old with her baking problem or whatever, even with like your health goal, or even feeling like you're redoing the same thing over and over, you know what? Just recognize this is another thing that you figured out that worked, that didn't work. I like to think of everything, especially with our health and with our health goals, is kind of an experiment. It is a little bit, because everybody is so different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Their schedule is different. Their sleep patterns are different. Everything is so different that you don't know if what you do is going to work for you. It's a little bit of an experiment. And so I don't discourage anyone from trying different things just because I know that you'll figure it out. Just sometimes takes a little while. But that's why I love sugar detoxing, because everybody needs the basis of this stuff. So this works. So changing mindset, it doesn't happen by accident, especially if you find you're one of those people who has the automatic negative thoughts. They naturally come to you. If you're one of those thinkers that tends to go towards the negative, then you're really going to have to step back and make a conscious effort to figure out how to switch your thinking around your health stuff. And sometimes that's something as simple as positive affirmations in the morning, or, reading, certain health books to kind of, but keeping it in the forefront of your mind is a big part of it. So staying on top of it, reading articles, researching, that's, things like that kind of keep it, it just keeps it something that you're thinking about so that you're not ever letting it kind of go. All right. So find your new normal. That's what we've all been doing here, right? Revisit your why, identify your strengths, and we're going to talk a little bit about being an abstainer or a moderator. I kind of like this conversation. I think it's a very interesting way to look at your food choices. So would you say, are you an abstainer or a moderator? And this goes a little bit back to that quiz that there was in the beginning, but do you have trouble stopping something once you start? And that's not necessarily about food, but once you decide it's off limits, you aren't tempted by it anymore. That's kind of that abstainer person that when they say, I'm off of diet Dr. Pepper, they're off, right? You're off diet Dr. Pepper, it's off limits to you, and there's something that has clicked in your mind that says, I do not want, do not need, and am not going to drink diet Dr. Pepper, right? That's an abstainer personality because you've made that choice and you're good with it. Whereas a moderator, they're the ones that get kind of panicky, and they start like, getting stressed out when you say they're never going to have it again. Like the idea of like, what do you mean I can never have it, or maybe they find that the occasional indulgence actually heightens pleasure and strengthens their resolve. Having a little bit here and there doesn't set them off. Okay. So I would say that probably in my old self. I mean, I think I've kind of personally shifted over the years. I think I used to be more of an abstainer, and now I'm much more of a moderator. I like living in this moderator place. Now, there are still certain things, as I say that I have put a hard stop on, that there's no flexibility in my mind for those things. But, I have learned that because everybody has such a different thoughts and different goals and different everything. I mean, I've just learned that everyone has like different things that work for them. And so trying to be a little bit more flexible in my thinking, it helps my clients figure out their way and their truth and their diet and their style of eating. I know what healthy looks like, so I just kind of help shift y'all that way, right? And that's what sugar detox is great for, because it kind of resets you, and it works for everybody in that way. So maybe this is different depending on the food. That's another thing to think about. Maybe your moderator or abstainer depends on the food option. So maybe the Diet Dr. Pepper is not hard for Sandy, but maybe if she said, oh, I'm never going to eat, bread again. And suddenly it's like, wait a second. Like, I didn't sign up for that. I can't just say no bread. You need to, that may be a moderate food for you. So consider making a list of foods, and I would encourage you to do this before the end of the sugar detox. Make a list of foods that you find tempt you too much, that you do not think that once you have it, you can stop. I kind of call them gateway foods, kind of like a gateway drug, right? That thing that like once you have it, it's over. And I put on here some foods that I find that people struggle with, and I've seen it over and over. Peanut butter is huge, nut butters, certain drinks or cocktails. So some people are fine if they just limit themselves to having like a gin and tonic, and other people, as soon as they have a beer, like it's over and they're just drinking too much. So chips and salsa are another big one. It is salty chips in general. Chocolate, ice cream, some things for some people are very much like a gateway food. And it's kind of like, once they have it, they're off program completely. Doesn't quite make sense. Have you ever seen that little Facebook thing where it says, or that little saying, and it says that, one mistake is like slashing, or no, let's see, what was it? Something about making one mistake off your plan and then calling it like a day and deciding you're done is like slashing the other 3 tires when you have a flat tire. Right? One tire goes out, and because you had, whatever it is that was such a bad thing, you give it all up and then just decide to eat whatever and just not even worry about it until next week or next Monday or whatever your time frame is. And it is kind of like, here you were running on 3 tires. Okay, you're not perfect running on 3 tires, but that's kind of like slashing the other 3 and just, giving up completely. So anyway, consider making rules for yourself or certain allowances, because no matter how you do that, structure is helpful. I mean, how many of you have gone to the doctor and been told or thought, hey, or, the doctor has said, just go back and eat better and exercise more? Like that doesn't give you any guideline. It gives you no idea what to do. You're left to your own devices. So you leave there going, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to exercise more. And for like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, but then no one knows what to do after that point. So we really do need some kind of guidelines, and you can make those for yourself. You can absolutely give yourself some guidelines, because every person out there, healthy person, maybe not every, maybe I'm generalizing, but I will say most people have guidelines around their food and their choices. So I have a client, I'm trying to even remember, I think it's a friend of a client. She thinks that this person, that she's like a runner and she's in her office and she's just, she's one of those people. Like, she seems like she's always really healthy. She always, comes in with her green smoothie, and she doesn't, go out to happy hour and like drink, eat all kinds of, stuff, appetizers and stuff. At happy hour, she tends to be happy just having, like a glass of wine and just wine and da-da-da-da. Anyway, one day she kind of said, well, you're healthy. She made some kind of comment to her about that. And she said, well, I mean, I don't let myself drink wine during the week. And she was like, oh. And so it wasn't that it wasn't that she couldn't go to happy hour, drink wine, and eat junk or whatever. She had given herself this self-imposed kind of rule around her food that kept her on top of her own choices and on top of her own reason, right? So making your own rules is good. So I have some ideas that hopefully will trigger some things for you. So we talked about the first half of this presentation was really about kind of that digging deeper, that intrinsic motivation, this idea of like, why are we doing this in the first place? Or why are we suffering, right? Why are we suffering through and having to like say no to all these things that we want? Well, it's got to be, there has to be a reason why, right? So that was kind of the first part of our presentation. Here are some ideas for you when you're actually looking at what life looks like after the 21-day sugar detox. Can you put some rules and some guidelines in place for yourself that will help you from going overboard? So some ideas to consider, and these are all things that I've used before with people or like that have worked, but this idea of only on the weekend. So maybe you only allow yourself to have dessert, a drink, eating popcorn while you watch a movie, whatever, maybe using the weekend as a way to kind of give yourself some guidelines. Only when there's an occasion. So another thing that works really, really well is like, okay, well, I don't have drinks during the week or at all, really, unless we have a happy hour, I have a work function, we're going out with friends, there's a birthday party, there's a family reunion. Like, those are occasions, those are reasons. Those aren't just sitting at home having an extra 300 or 400 calories in drinks on a Tuesday night, right? A certain number of times a week. I have someone that this works really, really well for, where she's like, you know what, I allow myself to have a glass of wine and a dessert 2 to 3 nights a week, no more. Once she's hit her limit, she cuts it off. Like, she knows that it's too much. We only have so many, calories in our health bank that we can afford. And when we go over, you're going to store and you're going to feel it, right? So she's found like her moderation. And some other ideas, like just after eating or drinking a specific thing. So, I like to do, after I have so much water, I let myself have another cup of coffee, things like that. You can always tie it to exercise, although exercise I don't believe is really the key for, really controlling our eating. There is some truth, and I kind of do this to myself. Like, if I, know that I'm going to go out that night and I'm going to probably indulge and eat or drink more than I would on like a normal night, then today has to be an exercise day. Like, it has to. Like, I got to do something to like balance out the extra crap that I'm probably going to have tonight and that I'm allowing myself to kind of have tonight. So kind of tying it to exercise to just give you some guidance. As long as you fill half your plate with veggies, trying to make sure all your meals have all those vegetables. As long as you have had a salad every day this week, you can let yourself enjoy a dessert or a treat. Hydration is, I put it of utmost importance. It really is that important that you drink water. So trying to get in your minimum water every day, lets you relax and not worry about having an extra beer, at the football game on Friday night or whatever, because you knew at least this week you got your water in for the week. So keeping in mind that healthy people, many of them have rules. They're self-imposed rules. They are kind of just guidelines, not as much as rules, because the truth is we're all adults and we can all make any choice we want. We can drink our Diet Dr. Pepper. We can have cake every night. We can eat popcorn every night. We can do whatever we want to. So why would you not? You've got to kind of consider that. Why wouldn't you? And then kind of come up with some guidelines around it. So another thought, just going.
I have a question. So on this, like, you hear a lot of people about like the cheat day or whatever.
Right.
Now, which I guess is if you had a rule or whatever, are you like if you're going to have a so-called cheat day, it's like you're kind of cheating on one thing. It's not like all day. So your cheat day would maybe be you allow yourself either a certain snack or ice cream or a dessert. But it's not like you're having pizza, dessert.
Right, the whole day, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't really do cheat days because I kind of feel like healthy living is something I do every single day. But I do make allowances in my life for those times when I'm not going to eat like, a salad and whatever. I mean, I do have to make allowances for those, but yeah, having that idea of a cheat day, I don't really love that. First off, I don't like any foods to be cheat foods. There's, I think there's a little more common sense there that says, you, again, can eat whatever you want. Who are you cheating on, But, like you said, if there's a meal, or I think it's just, I guess it's just a term that, or a way of thinking about it, kind of how you want to term that in your mind. I just don't think that using the word cheat is helpful, really. Kind of like falling off the wagon, or, those kind of things. Good foods, bad foods, trying to put everything in the same category. Food is just food. We need to choose the ones that are going to help us feel the best, right? And we all know now how we feel when we eat well. So, yeah, cheat day is a big day, man. I've seen people go and have a big cheat day, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Going into day 22, just if you know it's something that's going to bother you, maybe don't reintroduce it right away. If you know ice cream is something you've really, really been craving, and you're kind of worried about how you're going to react when you have it, maybe you just wait a little while. There's nothing that says you have to introduce it right away. She actually does have a little schedule. I think it's uploaded in the group. I'll have to double check it for what, reintroducing foods, because what you've done over this past 21 days really is an elimination program. So just like doing any kind of elimination program, this is the time where you can reintroduce things to see how your body, your skin, your digestion, your stomach, how everything kind of reacts when you add it back in. So is it bothered when you add dairy back in? Is it bothered when you add back in gluten or have a piece of bread? How do you feel when you try it again, right? So we're just going kind of slowly. And I just encourage you just to wait and do it slowly. And especially if you want to continue to kind of feel these great results, then going slowly is helpful. The more you practice self-control, the easier it gets. All right, if I got everyone's good so far? Makes sense? Overwhelmed. So if this scares you to death, keep in mind, this is what I do. I'm going to share with you what I do after the 21-day sugar detox. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of some options if you are interested in continuing. Okay, so I do have my one-on-one 6-month coaching package that is on sale. It was on sale till Thursday, till the end of the 31st. It was my New Year's special. But I will keep it open for a bit longer if someone decides they want to do more personalized coaching. So if I have a couple, if I have a team, if a husband-wife team wants to do it, I charge 1.5 times, so it's a little bit of a deal. I also have a small group that I have not actually promoted yet. Wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do it, but if I have some interest, I'll try and pull together at least 4 people for that. And it's going to be a very similar format to what we did with the 21-day sugar detox. So you have like the Facebook support. You also have weekly meetings. I have this is the one-on-one special. So this kind of just talks about what my one-on-one health coaching looks like. So it's on my website if you want to go check it out. It's normally $2,000. And I've been doing this now for about 3.5 years, and I see it work. It's really just hand-holding you through those steps, setting the goals, going from one thing to the next thing until we get to our ultimate goal, and really resetting the way we think about our food and our health, really. So I do the video chats. We actually use the same Zoom format, or I'll use FaceTime sometimes with some of them, sending personalized, recap of our goals, and you have, of course, access to me. And then my group coaching, if there's interest in doing that, reach out and I'll see if I can pull together some people between my 2 groups. But at least 4 people in a group, and it's going to be very similar to what we're doing here, but a total of 8 sessions. And I had the sessions outlined here. They may change, but what I have found is there are the same things that we continue to have questions about over and over and over. And so I try to touch all of those things in my group packages. And you know what? We do things like we clean out our pantry and we look at more intensive label reading. We do things that are educational at the same time, but also trying to help you with what your goals are. So, and then I put in there one-on-one session to go with that. Okay, here's our last little challenge for the week. Let me see if I can move you guys. So this practical paleo book, here it is. Okay, so when Diane Sanfilippo came to Atlanta, which was, I don't know, a year ago, she is when the new daily guide came out, and I went and saw her, and I bought 2 of these practical paleo books with the intention of giving one away, and then I never did it. This is a big book, guys. It's a heavy book. It's a $40 book. This is not a little prize. It's kind of a big challenge giveaway, but I do own it, and I'm happy just to ship it to whoever gets it. But because it's kind of a bigger one, I'm putting out there some bigger goals. You know, I really would love your testimonial and your experience that you've had on your sugar detox, because this is how I make my living, guys. So this is how I reach other people. So if you know of anyone who might be interested in doing another one, I'm going to start a new group in March. And I probably will not do another one until the fall. I have been running 3 a year. Sometimes I stick a 4th if there's enough interest, but most of the time 3 a year. 1 now, 1 before spring, and then 1 more in the fall. So to whoever wants to win this, I'll put y'all in the drawing. What you need is to give me a testimonial that I can use. I don't necessarily use your name, but I would love some kind of testimonial about your experience and about this group, especially if it's been helpful to you. And then if you want to tag me in a post and just say, hey, I had a great sugar detox, loved my experience with Angela, and tag me, again, just giving me the opportunity to reach more people that really may need and not know what their next step is in their health. So that's our last challenge for the week. And y'all saw that Nicole won my egg cooker. So, you know, it's a great, I'll put the link actually in the group. I keep meaning to do that because y'all may want to buy one because I use mine all the time. All right, that's it. I think that's all. Hold on. Yep, you're done. You're almost there. Hang in there. We're on our last few days, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 days. 6 days. Any comments, thoughts? Share? Hold on, let me unshare. There you are. How are we feeling? Was that helpful? Yeah, good. Good. Because, I mean, I feel like if we don't address some of those things, if we don't address why we're doing this in the first place, if we don't think about what we need to do when we're feeling down in the dumps, because trust me, you will. You're gonna, there will be a point where you're feeling maybe not as excited and motivated. If we don't address those things, then we can follow the rules all we want, but we're frustrated with ourselves. So, all right. Anyone? Comments, thoughts, questions?
I'm excited to see how it goes after this week. I was talking to Maria earlier today, and so we were trying to think of plans, and we even discussed ways to, like, when we go to family things, maybe bring something healthy. So it's not always healthy at family gatherings.
I know, right? Especially here in Georgia. Right?
And Oklahoma.
You know what? And I would love to see a meal plan for next week. I may give away another little bonus prize of something if people want to post some meal plans for week 4 of their 21-day sugar detox, because it's not about 21 days, right? It's really about days 22 through whatever after this. We need a plan. And I don't care if you're traveling or you're, going out of town for work or whatever you have going on. If you haven't thought about it or thought through it, then you're going to be in the same situation you were before you had the guidelines. Because what I don't want you to do is say on day 22, I'm done. I'm going to, splurge and allow myself to have something and then feel like you kind of lose that motivation. So,
Angela, I have a question.
Yeah.
So on Monday, as we come off of this plan and we're going to develop our own plan, what do you suggest on how we fold in like fruits and those kind of things? And really fruits is kind of what I'm thinking about.
Like how to reintroduce?
Yeah, without being crazy and too much. And
you know what, I usually just say, and actually she does have a schedule, and I will make sure it's uploaded in the group tonight or tomorrow morning. She has a schedule. What she suggests doing is adding in fruit, like on day 22, add in whatever it is you want to add fruit-wise, so whatever you choose, maybe it's strawberries, let's say, or pineapple or whatever, and eating it for the day. Use common sense approach and how much, but add that into your day. And then the day after, do not have it.
Oh.
Try to leave that one, or do not add anything else for the next day. So that, because it usually takes 24 to 48 hours if you do have some kind of reaction to something.
Okay.
But I also feel like, although most people are not going to have reaction to adding in strawberries, like you're not probably going to like break out from strawberries, right? That being said, this does give you a little plan of action of slowly adding them back in a healthy way.
Right.
I want you to savor it, right? I want you to look at that strawberry. I want you to enjoy it. It's going to be sweet and it's going to be delicious because you have completely reset what that baseline of sugar tastes like, right? So we don't want that to go away, you know. So if we add a cupcake in on day 22, you know, you're back to that heightened sweet. So we want to just slowly do that.
Okay.
So I'll make sure that's in the group, and I'll, you know, I even have the graphic, I think, kind of separate, but there's also a little reintroduction log.
Well, I have one more question. I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyhow.
Good.
So like juices, like cranberry juice that's sugar-free, which I know has artificial sweeteners, but things like that, is it better to have the full sugar drink or something that has an artificial drink if I'm going to drink some of that in very little moderation?
Right. I mean, I personally believe it's better to have the full thing than it is to have artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners really are that bad. Now, stevia is in a little separate category. Like, it's a more natural way to do it. So if you can find a juice that has a little bit in there, but right now, if you have a juice that is not sweetened at all, and it's just, let's say you go to Whole Foods where they have the juice bar and they actually do their cold pressed juices, they're not adding sugars to that, right? So the only sweet to that really is the apple juice or the whatever the citrus is or whatever they've added to it. That would be what I would recommend, is something like that.
Okay, that helped. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like some cranapple juice too, and they don't necessarily add sugar to it. But if you're buying the light one, they're adding some kind of, probably Splenda. Splenda is like usually the one they use. So
that's what I thought.
I mean, I kind of feel like I would rather have the real thing and less of it than to have artificial crap. I'm of the belief that the more whole, real, and natural state, the better your body knows what to do with it.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? All right. Well, I'm going
to gain 10 pounds from eating a cracker. Like, that's what I'm kind of worried about.
Well, haven't you? Now you're doing you were doing level, which one? 3?
I'm 3, yeah.
So when you're not doing any grains, I would just say slowly add them back in, but make sure they're whole, good carb foods, right? You know, I'm a big believer in learning what is a good carb and what is a not great carb. Add back in some quinoa first or some brown rice, and just to kind of make sure it's just like a reasonable amount. You're not going to gain weight from that. You go add back in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on day 22. You may feel it for a day or two. Now you're not gaining. This always kills me because people are like, I gained 3 pounds from my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. No, you did not. Your body, though, had the inflammation response. It's going to hold on to it because it hasn't had it in a while, right? So we're back to slowly adding those back in. And in particular, by doing level 3, which was, having none, I would just say slowly add them back, kind of like everyone else is going to do for berries or whatever.
Okay. I'm going to bathe in pineapple when this is over.
You're ready. That's right. You were the one who said pineapple. That's what made me think of it. Put it in a smoothie. It's so good. Is that what you want to do with it or no? Just whatever. Straight up pineapple.
Yeah, everything.
Hey, there are worse things to be craving.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy how it just hasn't gone away. Like, it's been pineapple the whole time. I don't know what it.
Love it. Well, I would be curious to think, what is it your body is looking for? Because sometimes, like I put on that cravings chart on there. It's true, It's your body searching for something that's in pineapple. Pineapple is full of certain nutrition that other things don't have. So, trying to find things that have that might help quell the craving a little bit.
We have access to your site after this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I leave it open for a couple weeks, and then even when I archive it, you can go back to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I leave it open so we can continue if people want to post or comment, for the next week or two, as they're re-adding things back in. We don't just stop. It'll sit there for a little while. Just won't be quite as active, and then I'll one day just archive it, which means you can look at it. You just can't post. All right, guys. Well, call me if you need anything, and I'll be, of course, in the group. Love to see some meal plans and what you're doing for the week. Continue to make good choices. Don't let it be good enough. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye, good night.
Bye, Erin.